Episode is about the most misunderstood section of Indian Constitution. The Directive Principles of State Policy. They're often dismissed as symbolic, non-enforceable, too idealistic, too vague, not justiciable. That's a mistake, because here's the truth. These articles from Article 38 to 51 are strategic instruments. They form a governance blueprint for the Global South, and they are 70 years ahead of their time. Let's decode them. Let's go beyond the courtrooms and into the soul of statecraft. This is episode 5 of India at 100, Constitutional Dharma and the Next World Order. Let's begin. Part 1 of this video is about directive principles, not law but dharma. The directive principles sit in part 4 of the Constitution, Articles 38 to 51. They are not enforceable by courts, but they are binding on the state as a policy goals. Their language is soft, shall strive, shall promote, shall secure, but their intent is sharp. They define how a just society should look, not just legally but ethically. What do they demand? Welfare, equality, environmental protection, living wages, decentralized governance, promotion of education, dignity for women, justice, social, economic, and political. Not slogans, these are constitutional imperatives, not enforceable. Sure, but not binding, absolutely not. In the hands of wise leadership, they become a moral constitution within the constitution. Dating the SDG by 70 years. Now let's compare the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The SDGs came into global focus in 2015. There are 17 of them. No poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality, clean water, climate action. Sound familiar? Every single one of these are already been written into India's directive principles. Decades before the world caught up. Let me be blunt. Article 39, Article 41, Article 47, they cover economic equity, health, employment and nutrition. Let me be blunt. Article 39, Article 41, Article 47. They cover economic equity, health, employment, nutrition. Article 48, environmental protection. Article 45, early childhood care and education. India didn't wait for the UN to set a moral agenda. We led with one and we did it in 1950. But this proves is simple. The global South doesn't need Western moral frameworks. We already have our own, rooted in our history, our struggle, and our civilisational ethos. Part 3 is about humane governance without dogma. Here's where it gets interesting. The directive principles imagine humane governance without falling into the trap of socialism or neoliberalism. They don't reject property, but they reject property without purpose. They don't mandate free markets. They mandate fair opportunity. They are not communist, they are not capitalist, they are constitutional dharmic. Let me quote Article 38, Subclause 2. The state shall strive to minimize inequalities in income, status, facilities, and opportunities. That's not dogma, that's justice through pragmatism. A post-colonial nation needs more than liberty, it needs legitimacy. The directive principles do that, they give ethical purpose to power. They align state actions with citizen expectations without turning the state into a nanny or a machine. Part 4 is about India's gift to the global South. Let's get real. Most countries in the global South, Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, were handed constitutions by colonial powers, written in Western legalese, caste-based rights frameworks, zero cultural roots. But India chose differently. We wrote a constitution that fuses law with morality, modern governance with ancient duty, structure with soul. That's what the directive principles represent. Let me say this clearly. If you are building a new state or reforming a broken one, you don't start with elections. You don't start with GDP targets. You start with a normative code. That's what Article 38 to Article 51 are. They don't just tell the state what to do. They tell the people why the state exists. Part 5 is time for a constitutional export policy. India must stop thinking like a colony of ideas. We don't just import values from the West. We have constitutional exports too. It's time we start building South-South constitutional fellowships, training programs for lawmakers in Asia and Africa, public policy models based on directive principles, a civic curriculum that teaches children why policy is moral, not mechanical. This is not nationalism. This is responsibility. Because if India doesn't guide the global South in law, someone else will, with less history, less wisdom, and less soul. Let me end with this. The directive principles are not a wish list. They are a constitutional compass. They don't beg to be enforced, they demand to be remembered. And if used wisely, they can shape a new generation of post-colonial states rooted in dignity, balance, and dharma. This is not legal theory. This is strategic statecraft. In the next episode, we will explore the constitutional crisis of institutional independence and how power tries to eat its own referee. If this episode triggered reflection, share it, discuss it, take it to the classrooms, barrooms, bar rooms, war rooms, because this is India 800. Constitutional Dharma and the next world order. Let the hearing continue. Thank you.